Welcome, 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 welcome. I am so excited to be here with you today, to be talking with you about my secret ingredient, to be sharing this key to all of the work that I've been doing throughout my entire career. If you are on my mailing list, you know what the secret ingredient is. If you are not, you should. But sometimes I share things there that I don't share anywhere else. So, I'm going to tell you how we got here. I very recently was talking with my therapist about a session that I was having with holding a critical conversation for a business. And it was hard. Like it was a really intense topic. When I hold critical conversations, it's about something big emotionally, either specific to that company or that's happening in the world that needs to be discussed because it's impacting how people are navigating the world. And I didn't feel great about it. I mean, I knew it went well because of the feedback I received, but it was a really hard topic and I felt overwhelmed afterwards. And so I was talking with my therapist about it and she said, "Well, how was it? Like what did you talk about? What were the questions?" That's like, "How did it go?" And I found myself saying, "I just held love for them. I just held love." She looked at me and she said, just that's all you did." And I said, "Yeah, that's all I ever do." And then I heard it and I caught myself and I went, oh yeah, okay. Let's talk about that for a minute. And I think of myself as a behaviorist. I talk about myself as that being the core. It is the core of my training. I help people change behavior, whether that's in businesses or their families. But at my core, I think that I'm really just teaching people how to love better, how to love themselves, how to love their families, how to be loving towards people that they are working with, working for, and supporting. We don't need to love everybody, but we can treat people with love who we don't love ourselves. And that is the conversation that we're going to get into today. So, because I didn't want you worrying about sitting and listening and being like, but what is the secret ingredient? There you have it. The secret ingredient is love. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So, I'm going to share my screen because I think that it is really helpful for you to be able to see the slides and see me. So we're going to try this new Zoom setup that I'm kind of excited about, and we'll see how that works out for us today. So here's what we're doing. We're talking about love and how that relates to the work that I do in the world. If you have been in one of my keynotes, in one of my trainings, if I have worked with your family, if I've worked with your school, you may have felt there be a fullness, a kindness, a connection, a something. And what I would dare to say in that moment, that what you felt in that experience with me might actually be love. Let's talk about how that works and what that really means. But before we do that, I just want us to ground here. You are coming from all of the different things that your day has already had. You're heading to all of the different things that your day is going to have again. So while we are here, let's just be present here together. And so I'm going to invite you to put your hands on your heart because it helps us connect our feelings with our thoughts. We operate so much from our mind, which is great. Our minds are so brilliant, so great. But when we drop into our feelings and when those two things are connected, that is where magic happens. So let's drop into our feelings. If that is not comfortable for you, put your hand somewhere that is comfortable for you. If you are in a place where you can comfortably close your eyes, I invite you to do that as well, because it just helps you get present with what is. Feel the chair that you're sitting on or the floor beneath your feet. Be here. And then I'm going to invite you just to breathe quietly with your eyes closed and your hands on your chest, perhaps, and breathe for 60 seconds, for just 1 minute in silence. I'm going to time it so that we know that exactly what we're doing when. Ready? Begin. Take one more deep breath in and out, and open your eyes and come on back. And just notice for a moment how you are feeling, what has shifted for you. You can put into the comments that one word so that other people who are here, who are watching either in this present moment or before, not before, or after you, can recognize that what they're feeling, somebody else was as well. So take that action step to connect to the community that is here and that will continue to be here throughout the lifetime of this training existing online. So I love to bring in tools that you can use in the real moment with me right now and help you get to a particular place, but also you can take into your life. I find that I am so much more clear, I'm more present, and I'm really connected to what I'm feeling in this moment when I do that. So it helps me speak better to you. Perhaps it helps you be more present with the conversation, but also think about where else in your life could this be a tool that would be really helpful. Short, sweet, you can do it anywhere. I do this on the subway. I don't shut my eyes on the subway because that freaks me out. But if it feels good to you, go for it. So, what are we doing today? I know that for some people, having a plan is super helpful. So here it is. First, we're going to share why love is my secret ingredient, because that feels like an important thing. Oh, wait, we already did that. Sometimes I flip things around. We're going to talk about how love is present in my work. We're going to talk about what beliefs I have that allow me to support this idea, right? How does that work in my life? And maybe these are beliefs you have, maybe they're not. Maybe you want to pick them up, maybe they're not for you. That's great. I'm just sharing my experience so you understand it and connect to it. And then we're going to do action steps. We're going to go through some exercises and some tools so that you have something to walk away with in the event that you want to bring more love into your life in this way. And then we're going to do questions, because there are always questions. There's always a refinement. There's always a curiosity. So whether you're watching the recording and put that in the chat, or you're here live and we're going to talk through it, the questions will always be answered. I always come back to check what questions I can help you answer. So love, that's what we got. That is what we are talking about today, and it is central to every tool, strategy, framework that I teach. It's in every conversation. It is a bit embedded into who I am. And once I realized that love is kind of this core thing that I do, I was thinking about how did that come to be, right? Not just the conversation with my therapist where I had the realization, but why? Where did that come from? In the first 10 years of my career, I worked directly with children. I worked with children with special needs. My career started working with children with autism, and I started working with other types of diagnosis, other kids who saw the world differently, but it was all kids under 5. And in those moments, I was very aware in my work that I know you're not supposed to have favorites, but whether I liked a kid or didn't like a kid, enjoyed them, didn't enjoy them, they were my favorite, they were not my favorite, it didn't matter. I still had this very dedicated feeling of needing to show up and do my very best, because the child that I was working with that day was someone's whole world. The kids that I were working with, the parents wanted everything for these children. And my experience is that most parents do feel this way, that your child is your whole world. It is the most precious possibility in your life, and you will do anything for that other person. And so I spent the first 10 years of my career every day working with someone's most precious connection in this whole world. Their heart was being trusted in my hands. And if I did a good job, that kiddo might have a better future, that I was one piece of that puzzle, right? So please be clear. I don't think that it was all on me, but I did know that if I kind of blew off my job, that kid had less of a strength of the future possibility. And if I did it really well, their future got better. And that concept really stayed with me. I still very strongly feel that way of, if I show up and do a good job and help you understand something that will make your life better for you to apply in an authentic way in your life, then the world gets better. And I think that comes from this place of knowing that I was every day working with someone's whole world, their most beloved ever. And so that's a bit of how I see the world. So, what does my work look like today? If you know me, you may already know these pieces. If we haven't talked for a while, perhaps things have shifted. And if we're just meeting, I just wanted you to know kind of what my work looks like in the world. How is this grounded? This idea of love, right? I'm not a relationship coach. I don't do dating work. What I do is I have two different ways that I work. One is I still work with families. I now lean more heavily into parent training and I do in-home weekend intensives. So I go into families' homes for 3 days in a row to support and create change and build in more harmony and more love and stop the breakdown and the yelling and the fighting and all of the things that make day-to-day life so challenging for some families. For some families, I just do virtual parent training to help get tools. And it's easy in those moments for me to see this direct connection with love, right? I am building more love into families. It's what I named my book, Love Your Family Again. It's what I named my podcast, Love Your Family Again and Again and Again and Again. But those are the only places that I really use the word love. I don't talk about it in my day-to-day work, but that really is the core of what I'm doing. I'm creating the possibility of there being more loving interactions, more expressed love, more felt love in families. The other category of work that I do is I work with businesses. I talk about culture change and conflict resolution. I hold critical conversations and help support the mental health of the community of an organization. And that can look like a bunch of different things. It can be keynotes, it can be trainings and workshops, it can be small group facilitation, it can be one-on-one coaching. But I'm realizing that even in that world, no, I don't think everyone in an organization needs to love each other. I actually think that that'd be weird and inappropriate. But I do think that you can treat people with love even if you don't love them. I think that you can show respect and kindness. You can listen with openness in ways that demonstrate love. You can treat people as if they are loved by someone, even if it's not you. And so bringing that humanity in feels like the core of the work I do there. How do we build connection? And I can treat you lovingly, even if I don't love you. So that is a little bit of how it comes through in my work and just a bit about the work that I do in the world. So you're grounded in the rest of this conversation. So let's get back to love. I have realized that there are two buckets of people. There are two kinds of people in this world. That's it. One, people fit into one or the other. Okay, that's it. Two buckets. Now, you may have different buckets, but my opinion will stay that you also only have these two buckets of people in the world, which I think is amazing. Like, this is remarkable to me when I realized this recently. One bucket is the people I love, my family, my friends, my close community, the people that I love, that I would do anything for. Now, that anything is different, right? What I would do for my parents versus my very dear friends. There's a range of what love looks like, but there are still many people in this world that I personally love and therefore want to do my best to treat them lovingly. The other bucket, everyone else. When I say everyone else, it's not people I love and people I don't love, which it sort of is, but it's people I love. And then everyone else is in someone else's bucket, number one. Everyone else is loved by somebody. They are someone's rock. They are someone's most important person. They are someone's whole world. They are someone's confidant. They are someone's best friend. They are someone's child or parent or cousin or uncle. They are someone who made somebody else smile today. So there are people that I love, and then there's everyone else who is loved by someone else. And I do think that that is how I see the world. So even if I'm not really getting along with you, I can remember that there is someone in the world that does love you. There is someone else who cares about you. There is someone else who is hoping that this person is being treated kindly. And that allows me to pause and say, how do I want my loved ones to be treated by strangers? How do I want to treat someone else's loved ones, whether I know them or not? And that idea of how do I want a stranger to treat my beloveds helps me think about how do I want to treat people that I don't know, but are clearly loved by somebody else. I think the world would be a really different place if that is how we moved through it. So I do my best to do that. So here are my beliefs that allow me to do this hopefully well on most days in most times. One is love is an action. Yes, love is a feeling. We feel love, great. But I also really believe that love is an action. I can love someone and treat them horribly, and that's not love. I can act in a loving way without actually feeling that emotion. Not a bad thing. But I believe that love is an action and that we have to make choices and take steps each and every day to demonstrate love. And because I think love is an action, it allows me to lean into my behaviorist lens and do the things I do in the world. Two, I believe you don't have to love everyone. I actually think it's weird and creepy if you try to love everyone. When I just meet you, I can believe that you are a person worthy of love. I can believe that there are people in this world who love you. But if I met you 10 minutes ago, the likelihood of me loving you in the true sense, probably not emotionally, but action-wise, behaviorally, I can treat you with love. But you don't have to love everyone to do that. And then three, treating someone with love is not just for the people that I love. I believe that. I think that kindness and understanding and patience and respect, even when I disagree with you, I think giving space for possibilities, there are a lot of things that I think I connect love with that also I feel are very human ways to treat people. And right now in the world, at least in the US, things are really divided. And I can look to many places in the world where there is a lot of pain and heartache because we aren't treating other people with love. We aren't treating other people humanely. And what if I don't have to love you and I don't have to agree with you in order for me to treat you with love? What if that's possible? I think it might be. So there's some truths that also go along with this. Here are the truths that I believe. One of my truths is that all people are good at our core, in our base, at the bottom of everything. People, every individual is good. Our souls are good. A truth I believe is that actions are good and bad, not people. It is what we do that can be helpful or hurtful, not who we are. I believe that hurt people hurt people. And so some of the heartbreaking, devastating, tragic things, I don't want to just say, oh, they're just good people doing bad things. It's that simple. I think the generational impact of pain and disconnect, of being treated without love, has created some really horrific, unspeakable circumstances. But I also believe that the people that are pulling that out are simply hurt people that are hurting other people, and that there is capacity to change. So the fourth truth is that I believe that all behavior can change, all of it. I believe that people that are doing horrible, hurtful things can learn and change and grow. I have watched this in big and small ways in my own life. I have helped people in big and small ways through my career. I have read story after story after story of people who have changed and grown and demonstrated the goodness inside of them. These are truths that I think that I live from, that I hold really true and try my best to remember every day. The final truth that I just want to make sure that I share is that I believe that change is creating by building possibilities. When cancel culture is huge right now. We disagree, so I'm just not going to talk to you. I believe that creates more division. I believe that creates more hurt. And when we're hurt, we hurt people. So I want to flip that to say we have to create possibility. And so I need to go first to lead that, to act with love, to demonstrate love, to show the openness that can be there, because hurt people, but everybody is good. So we have to get back to that goodness somewhere. And if I treat you with love, it is possible that that will come back just a little bit more. So what does this mean? It means that I see all others as loved. I don't have to love you to see that you are loved by someone. You are worthy of love. There is potential for love to be there. And so when things are difficult, when things are hard, that truth for me impacts everything. So if I'm in a home and I'm working with a kiddo and they are having a glorious breakdown, right? One of those really big, messy, explosive tantrums. One of the things that I do is I hold in the back of my head, you are loved. You are loved. This moment is really hard. You are still loved. You are still worthy of love. When I am doing a training and there's someone in the room who is really resistant to what we're talking about, who's oppositional and just wants to have their voice be heard as the one who's right and try to make me wrong, that's hard. But I hold that they are loved. They are worthy of love. And so how can I diffuse? How can I shift? How can I coordinate that moment without taking away that love, but also doing the job that I'm there to do? It impacts everything. Now, personally, I believe that it impacts things both energetically and behaviorally, because I think that if I hold in my heart, in the back of my head, that you are loved, that energetically you can feel that. That's my belief system. I've done yoga, I've meditated for years, and have watched how that changes. You may or may not believe that, and that's great. But behaviorally, I can also watch it, right? We talk about self-fulfilling prophecies. There are micro behaviors. If I hold that you are loved, there are small things that will do that are kinder, that create more possibility. If I don't hold that and I hold some other story of why you're doing what you're doing, it's easier for me to harden, to fight, to push, to back up and make us enemies, to add to the opposition. And I don't want to be doing that. Walking in the world as love as my base allows me to tell the story that people are doing the best they can. And that serves me as well as them. The person in the coffee line who's being a pain, I can tell the story that they had a really rough morning and someone in their family needs help and they just want to get to wherever that person is, and therefore they are impatient because there is something hard happening in their life and they really need to be somewhere else and get coffee. I can think through why someone in a corporate setting is being defiant with the content that I'm trying to be there to work with them through, as this being a strategy that has served them and protected them in their life. And they're not trying to fight with me to be a poopy head. They just really don't know what the world would look like if this thought changed. They're scared and therefore pushing back. That humanity allows it to be easier. And if I think about a kid who's having a really hard time, it's not because they're a bad kid. It's not because they're destined to be evil. It's not even because of some learning difference. To me, it's because they don't know how to communicate in a different way what they need in that moment. And if they did, they would, but they don't know how to. And that's okay. And part of my job as the grown-up in that moment is to help them learn to get whatever that need is met in a better way. That's the story I tell myself, which allows me to show up with more love and possibility, and it allows my actions to match who I want to be in the world in a bigger way. So love allows me to see the world with a positive lens. Doesn't mean that I don't see pain and horrible things. It means that the story that I make about what those things are, their capacity to change, and about the people who are engaged in those actions is different and more supportive than the other stories that could be told. And we're all just making up stories about why other people are doing things and why we are doing things ourselves. So I'd rather tell the good story that creates possibility, because I watch how that changes the world each and every day in the small piece of the world that I am in. So now that you have all of my beliefs and truths and frameworks and where it came from, and I think I have said love over 100 times, which kind of feels great, given that I don't normally talk about this in training. So I have a feeling that that is gonna change now. There's certainly going to be more moments that is an active piece of what I teach now that I have it as an active piece that I know I teach. Let's talk about action steps. Let's talk about what can you do to bring more love into the spaces that you want to try this in, that you want to practice in, that you're like, okay, cool, Dr. Marcie, that's all great that you believe these things. What does that mean for me? Well, here's what it means for you. You may have, if you have been around for a while and heard other of my content, know that I have 3 rules to change all behavior, right? It's basically the rules are about what we say, they're about what we do, and they're about coming from a positive perspective. So I wanted to break down these 3 rules with tools to help you feel what coming from a loving space or not a loving space does to change that. So the first rule, speak with purpose. Speaking with purpose means paying attention to the words we use because our words matter. I recently had a teacher that I was working with say, our words make worlds. And that has stuck with me because it is a way that I believe to be true that I didn't have that language for, but it's so powerful that our words make worlds. So here's what we're going to do. I have 2 following slides, and one of them has a phrase that we're going to say 5 times. And I want you to pause and think about, how do you feel? We're then going to do another slide. We're going to say the phrases on that slide another 5 times. And I want you to see how you feel. The phrases on both slides can be used to explain the same situation, the same dynamic, the same experience could happen. And you could go to somebody, whether it's someone in your family or someone at work, and say either of these phrases. You get to choose. We are more in control of our words than we think we are. So let's see which one of these feels better to you and therefore creates the possibility of how you change the words you use. Ready? Are you ready? Okay, first one. I have a big problem. Let's say it 5 times. I have a big problem. 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 How you feeling? Put it in the comments. How are you feeling right now? Yeah. Anxious and worried. I kind of want to just hide under my desk right now. Anyone want to go for a drink? Because yeah, I have a big problem. It is overwhelming. I feel overwhelmed right now. Okay, shake it off. Shake it off. Okay, because we don't actually have a big problem right now. We're just here having a conversation. Here's the next slide. We have an interesting situation. Let's say that 5 times. We have an interesting situation. 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 I lost count. We have an interesting situation. How do you feel now? I feel a little curious. Feel a little bit like I'm ready to problem solve. Put in the comments how you're feeling right now. Optimistic. Excited. Yeah. So when something shows up and there's a challenge, there's an unexpected event, you can have a big problem or you can have an interesting situation, and you get to decide the words you use. And our words make worlds. So what words reflect a more loving possibility? Rather than going in and describing all of the problems that may unfold, could you go in and describe all of the possibilities that you want to create? It takes some retraining and shifting, but it'll change your world. That is something I know for sure. All right, next. Oh, my slides don't want to go. There we go. My second rule for changing all behaviors, do more, actions count, right? What we say is amazing. It impacts everything. But wait, what makes that even more powerful is when we follow that up with action. So in this scenario, in thinking about how we bring love to the table, what I really wanted to kind of sit with is how we say our words, how we use our bodies as we say those words. What does that look like for you? What does that feel like inside your own body, as well as what does that convey to the world? So let's think about your body positioning. What do you do in order to connect with somebody else? Usually that is like creating openness with your arms, maybe looking in their direction. Maybe there's some like nodding as someone else is talking, right? There are ways that we connect with our body that create a space to be like, yeah, I'm with you. Tell me the thing. This leaning feels very different than this, right? Even whether I'm smiling or not, right? That is all part of how I connect. What about to intimidate? What would you do to intimidate somebody with your body language? Usually get big, wide, take up space. I am a very relatively short person, so it's hard for me to do this move, but like the leaning over someone, I've certainly had that done to me, where if I'm sitting and someone's standing, they'll lean over you. You see it in cop shows when the police are interrogating someone, let me get close and lean in, right? There's a way that we use our body, that we're not smiling when we're trying to intimidate someone. We may hold eye contact even longer. There are actions we take that convey that. What do you do to show confidence? When I think of my body showing confidence, when I think of the actions that show confidence, I think of being kind of like still and tall. I mean, granted, I can't get much taller than I am. 5'1", that's all I got. But like that, like I am, my spine is tall, my spine is straight. I'm like, I can feel my legs are wide. Like I just am standing solidly. It's kind of amazing. I feel good. My shoulders are down and back. I will look directly at you. My head is up. My down. Right? There are things we do with our bodies that show that. What if I wanted to disconnect, to withdraw from the conversation? I might turn. Yeah, I'm still listening. I'm here. Yeah, but I'll turn. My body will be away from you. I'll look down or I'll look up. I'll look away from you. There's no eye contact. If you are trying to have a connecting conversation with someone, if you are wanting to show them love, think about the body positioning you are using. Show confidence because that shows you love yourself. That's great, but don't be intimidating. Can you show connection rather than withdrawal? Are there other things that you think of your body positioning that would allow you to show up and demonstrate, I believe that you are worthy of love, and therefore I'm going to stay here and pay attention? For me, that looks like putting your device down. So you're not checking email while you're talking to them. Or if you do, you explain why, right? Oftentimes in sessions, I have notes on a second screen, and I will say to someone, if you see me looking up, it's because I'm taking notes about what we're talking about. So they know I'm not responding to an email or texting with a friend while we're in a meeting, that it's actually about them and that this is how I'm organized. So think about what are the things that you use your body position to care for someone, to not, right? Those are all pieces that show that we know that you are worthy of love or not. You're not worth my time. You're not worth my respect. Or I get that what you are saying has value, that who you are has value. So I'm going to create the space for it. Or I'm going to create the space later if I don't actually have time for it right now. Okay. The third rule is that our perspective is powerful. There is a phrase, you catch more bees with honey than with vinegar, and I love it. I actually think it's you catch more flies, but I like bees better, so we go with that one. There is a way that we live in a world that always goes negative before going positive. We don't set point on the positive, and I think that that is part of how we are disconnected. We assume the worst in people rather than assuming the best. We make up stories that bring us down rather than up in connection and community. and in relationship. And just in general, it makes us feel crappier inside. So, with this realization that what I do is walk through the world with love, is I also believe that celebration and positivity is required. We have to look for the good. We have to choose to see that there is good out there, that there is love out there, that they are worthy of love, even if they are doing something not loving themselves. Our perspective is powerful. The stories we make about the things that are happening matter. So I tend to think about there being three groups of the way we talk, right? The first one being criticisms, the second one being comments, and the third one being compliments. So criticism is what they did wrong, what's bad, what I mean, I just keep thinking what they did wrong, right? Comments are kind of like your to-do list, your grocery list. Like let me just tell you, there's a cup here, there's a pad here, there's a just kind of the checklists of our life. And then the compliments, what you did well, what you want to celebrate, what you want to remember. So here's the exercise that I want to walk through with you. When was the last time you criticized yourself? For most people, that's within the last 10 minutes. Now, I'm having you do this for yourself because the way we treat ourselves is reflective of how we treat others. When was the last time you criticized yourself? I think unconsciously, a lot of us walk around going, oh, I should have said this, or I wish I did that, or why didn't I go do this before, or how did I forget that? We point out all of our shortcomings all day long in our own head. Is that you? I don't do it all day long because I've worked very hard for many years not to, but I still do every day. Criticize myself, question myself, doubt myself. When was the last time you just made a comment to yourself? Okay, yep, walking out the door, I got my keys, I got my phone, got my bag. Oh, yeah, I need a hat. Let me get the hat, right? Just talking to yourself about the things. And maybe you don't do it out loud the way I do, but in your own mind, do you notice what you have and what you don't have? And then when was the last time you gave yourself a compliment? Like an actual good thing. Now, if you have given yourself a compliment more recently than you've given yourself criticism, I am very, very impressed. But for most of us, it's been hours, if not days, if not weeks. Now, I give myself compliments every day because I have trained myself at the end of each night to write down what I'm grateful for and to write down what was good about the day. And so my brain is more wired to see the good. So I do compliment myself. I practice that as an active skill to remind myself that I am loved, that I am worthy of love, and that there is so much good in my life. But when was the last time you complimented yourself? And if you want to be really brave, put in the comments any of these answers. How long has it been? And partially that allows other people to feel like they are not alone, whether it's been days or weeks or months. If you aren't giving yourself compliments, you're not giving other people compliments. And one way to teach people love, to show people love, to demonstrate love is to give compliments. One of my favorite things to do, especially when I'm having a hard day, is to walk down the street and give people compliments. If somebody's wearing an amazing coat or great shoes, or when people walk down the street and you're carrying flowers, I tell them that the person is going to love them. Oh my gosh, those flowers are fantastic. What a way to celebrate, right? If they look like they're going to be giving them to someone, I'll say, oh, your partner is going to love that. Whoever's getting them is a lucky person, right? I make up a story about where they're going and then I tell the person, and usually they laugh. Brings a little bit of joy into the world. Complete stranger. Just helps remind me that there is good in the world. So perhaps you want to shift, maybe one or two less criticisms a day, maybe a few more comments, maybe a handful more compliments, just to yourself. And that will create a ripple that will change the rest of it. Okay, we have one more exercise. But before we do that, I just want to go through next steps. What do you do from here? I know this was an amazing time together, and I'm so grateful that you were here. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, where do you go? What do we do next? If we are not already connected, I would love for you to join my mailing list. So a friend may have forwarded this to you. You may have gotten it. I was just asking people to DM me to get the link for this training live. So if you're here live and we aren't already connected, I would love for you to join my mailing list. If you got this video because someone sent it to you, also would love for you to be part of this community. If you found it helpful and useful, I send out emails about once a week that are golden nuggets, stories, and lessons from my life and how perhaps those lessons can serve you. And there's also a free gift that are my 6 C's for communication. So just how to help you have hard conversations, but also when used in everyday life, they just change communication overall. So you can go to drmarcie.com/free gift. First name, email address, that's it. I never send your email addresses anywhere, but then you'll know what I'm up to and I'll be able to share some more wisdom along the way. Number 2, tell a friend. The majority of my community, the majority of people that I am connected with, work with, are on my mailing list, show up to these trainings. Someone has shared my name, my content. I have met them personally. That personal referral when it comes to mental health work, when it comes to work with your family, when it comes to having hard conversations, when it comes to culture change, that personal touch goes so far. So if you found this training helpful, please send it to just one person that you know could also use this message, that reminder that when we put love at the foundation of everything, it changes. I would be so grateful, and hopefully it will help create the ripple that I am working on making in the world. 3, if there's something about what I have said that resonates with you and you need help with your family, if there's a place in wherever you work and your organization that you think could use some more of this type of messaging around, perhaps not so directly about love, please email me. Please reach out. Please let me know how I can help you. Let me know what questions you have, what new webinars you would hope to hear, what your next steps would be from here so that I can help create that for you so that we can do it together. I would love to work with you to collaborate, to do something unexpected, because I always find that that happens when I open the door to new people. Tell me what you see. Tell me what your life is like, and maybe we'll create something amazing together. And number 4, watch where love is in your life. Just start looking for it. Take the exercise we did and practice them once a day. Just think, what am I doing with my body? Am I communicating love? Am I showing love? Am I acting in a loving way to the people that I love? Start there. Just watch, see where there is love, see where you want to show more love when you are feeling it, because love is an action that we have to take, action steps to demonstrate. Okay. There's some other action step that you are going to take after this training. Please put it in the comments so that other people can also learn from your action step. It takes a village for us all to get anywhere that we're going. So I would love to hear what your additional action steps are. Okay. And now it is time for our last exercise. It is my favorite exercise ever. My favorite one that I do. And it seemed like a really great way to remind you how loved you are, to teach you a way to do it yourself. So in a moment, I'm going to put a phrase on the screen. We are going to say it over and over and over again together for 1 minute. That's it. We started the training with a minute. We're going to end the training with a minute experience. What I also want you to do is I want you to stand in superhero pose while we do it. So your feet are going to be wide and flat on the floor. If you are sitting, great. Still, can you feel like you have a really solid base below you? If standing's not an option, it's not necessary. And then if possible, also, hands go on your hips or arms go up, right? The idea is really that you want to stand like a superhero. So if your body doesn't do what a stereotypical superhero does, awesome. How can you create that physical feeling or concept or idea for your body? If that's an option, however that's going to look for you is perfect, right? There's no right way to do it for everyone. There's just the right way for you. Okay, so we're going to stand like this. I'm going to get my timer ready. And then we're just going to say it for 1 minute over and over and over again. And I just want you to remember, if you are somewhere where you can't do this out loud, come back to it and do it later because it's helpful to say it out loud. can also just say it in your head if this feels silly to you. But I'm the one on the microphone and on camera. So do what you got to do and enjoy this. This is such a wonderful thing. Okay, ready? Ready. So we're going to say this for 1 minute, standing in superhero pose. Go. I am amazing. 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 You can have fun while you're doing this. I am amazing. I am amazing. I am amazing. I'm amazing. I'm amazing. I am amazing. I am amazing. I'm amazing. I'm amazing. I'm amazing. I am amazing. I am amazing. I'm amazing. I am amazing. I am amazing. I am amazing. I'm amazing. I am amazing. I'm amazing. I'm amazing. I am amazing. I'm amazing. I'm amazing. I am amazing. Last one. I am amazing. Now just take a moment. Take a breath. How do you feel? Because you might know that you are amazing. You're amazing. You really are. So I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for taking the time. I know that it is precious. I know there are so many other things that you could have been doing right now that you need to be doing. So I'm really grateful that you trusted me, that you showed up, that you listened to my wisdom. Social media, I am most active on LinkedIn and YouTube. I'm at Dr. Marcie Beagle on both of those. There is my website. There is my email address. If there's any way that I can help and support you, please know that I'm here. And also know that I truly know that you are amazing. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I look forward to the next time that our paths cross. Go have an amazing day and see where you can find more love in your life and in the lives of others.